Hello everybody, this is Wolfgang von Latman from Chalice of Immortality.com. And today, as I pull these random ass pants off of the chair I'm sitting on out from underneath my butt, I'm here to talk to you guys today about the side effects of Maca and how some of the potential negative effects can happen or how they happen. What's the mechanism behind it? So I've seen previously all over the internet there on occasion are people who seem to have some not so positive effects from Maca, and just recently I've got a couple of comments on a couple of my videos about Maca root causing a little bit of jitteriness or anxiety or a feeling of insanity or digestive issues and things of that nature. Now I have a lot to say about this because there's so many different possibilities on this. But first of all, let me just say that, for the vast majority of people, you don't really need a tonic herb or an adaptogen to feel at your best, or to feel great at the very least, okay? Because adaptogenic herbs and tonic herbs, their main purpose is to supplement an already great program for well-being, all right? So if your diet is working for you properly and, you're practicing certain habits like no FAP, no Facebook, meditation, you're exercising regularly, and you're armed with the right mindset, which I talk a lot about in most of my videos. Well, after that, tonic herbs can take you to this nirvana that so many people try to reach through really extreme practices that aren't necessary. Like, I'm not going to name many of those, but basically, you don't need an adaptogenic herb or a tonic herb to feel good, okay? Now, they will help. 100% they will help. And depending on the herb we're talking about, these herbs can help to a great extent. And it is true that even if you're eating a shitty diet, tonic herbs can make you feel drastically better and they can improve your life. Yes, they can. But I just want it to be known that you don't need to spend money on Maca to feel at your best. So I don't want for people to think like, feel pressured into trying this thing over and over again if it's not really the most important thing in their life right now, because what's most important is efficiency. Anyway, so Maca. So first and foremost, the most important thing is gelatinization. If you are consuming Maca root, be sure that you are buying gelatinized Maca, okay? If the Maca you are buying does not say whether it's gelatinized or not, chances are it is not gelatinized. And, remember why you're buying Maca in the first place. Why do you buy any sort of tonic herb? So that you can get a specific effect, okay? You're buying it for positive results. And you have to embody the fact that the result you get from Maca is entirely dependent upon the preparation and the type of Maca. If it is yellow Maca and it is raw, you are likely to experience significant issues, okay? Gelatinization will change the effects completely, all right? So first of all, gelatinization is a process that removes some of the hard to digest carbohydrates. This includes resistant carbohydrates, resistant starch, and just starch in general. Remember that Maca itself is a tuber, much like a potato. Maca root is the root of the tuber, and tubers like potatoes need to be cooked before eaten, otherwise they'll cause digestive distress as well. And most roots and medicinal herbs and tonic herbs in general, traditional preparations of these herbs and whatnot they involve some sort of cooking or steaming or brewing, simmering, like in a concoction is what they call it. So you usually aren't going to like consume something raw, okay? There are, this is just a generalized statement, damn it. A generalized statement. But it's for the most part true for most medicinal and tonic and adaptogenic herbs, okay? There's a process that goes into it. But with maca root, it is imperative that we buy gelatinized maca. If you didn't buy gelatinized maca, or you're not sure if it was gelatinized, you really cannot say that it is the maca that caused it, per se. It's not like, oh, I tried maca and it made me feel like, blah, blah, blah. Like, because if you tried gelatinized maca, chances are, at the very least, you would not have experienced digestive problems, because the gelatinization removes the starches and things that most people have trouble digesting, okay? I myself use gelatinized yellow maca on a regular basis, okay? Actually every single day, and I have been doing this consistently for the last couple weeks, and on and off throughout the years, over the past like 3 years, has it been? Yeah, 3 years. I'll go through months of taking maca consistently, and then I'll take long periods off where I try different herbs and synergistic combinations. But I have found through trial and error and through research that gelatinization is the way, okay? So before I started taking gelatinized maca, I experienced a lot of strange like aggression and weird effects. This might have been because it was raw maca. When I started taking a high quality organic gelatinized maca, and by the way, there's some really, really great maca out there, and I highly recommend everyone buy it online. The reason why is because you can buy any type of maca you want online. At health food stores, you'll be lucky to find gelatinized yellow maca. But keep in mind, there's also black maca. There's also red maca. And many people don't know there's also purple maca and I think pink maca. There's a couple others. There's different types of maca, let alone different processes for creating it. All right, so keep that in mind, man. It's a very intricate thing. So there's that. Okay, there's the gelatinization process. I've been taking gelatinized maca for years, years on and off, and I experienced nothing but benefits. But I've also been practicing no fat for years, and I've also got my diet dialed in. I've gone through the hell of trying different diets and seeing what works for me and what doesn't. And I can tell you with 100% certainty, getting the diet that works for you, not the diet that, this professional said it was healthy, this doctor said it was healthy, this scientific study this. No. Use that as tools, but find what works best for you. This is going to make a big impact. God, what the fuck? I'm going off the subject. So anyway, maca root, beyond the gelatinization, you need to understand. So okay, the rest of the mechanisms of why it might fuck you up or whatever. So gelatinized maca is a very powerful herb. Okay, it is a very powerful natural medicine, very powerful root and plant. Okay, it is directly involved with hormones. Okay, so there's different mechanisms that it affects. It directly affects cortisol. Okay, it directly affects cortisol. So even if you take gelatinized maca, these are precautions you have to understand. Gelatinized maca, taken proper dosages, etc. For women, it will change your period cycle. Okay. Because we know that maca root, many women who take it who are infertile, they suddenly become fertile. They're diagnosed like, oh, you can't have a baby, doctors said. Then they take maca for a while, and within a month, they're pregnant all of a sudden. It works that fast. It's crazy. So it really does affect the hormonal systems, okay? It will increase your sperm volume. It will make you feel much more masculine. It'll give you all the symptoms of masculinity and testosterone. but it's probably not going to like raise your testosterone like steroids. It won't. But it will make you feel like you have increased your testosterone, surprisingly. This is partly because of dopamine. It's also partly because it regulates cortisol. It also affects the thyroid. So for people with low thyroid, maca is great because it can help to boost the thyroid a little bit and help to convert T3, thyroid hormone T3, to active thyroid hormone T4, which is very great for people with low thyroid, which I talked a lot about in my maca route for weight loss video. Okay. Beyond that, let's see. It also has very powerful effects on the dopamine systems, which affect your anxiety, your stress, and your motivation and your horniness, and the cortisol thing too. All right. Cortisol's the stress hormone. So depending on what maca is doing in your body, and usually since it's an adaptogen, you're going to go through a period of like a week, maybe 2 weeks of maca root trying to balance out whatever problems you might have had for a long time. And if you're new to adaptogens and you're new to all of this and you're not really eating the healthiest diet, maca root's probably going to be a pretty intense adaptation for about 2 weeks of taking it before you start to feel really, really great, okay? Because it's kind of like it's a medicine that's balancing you. So you're gonna feel like, oh fuck, because that's the cortisol being balanced out. That is the thyroid being balanced out. That is the dopamine and the neurochemicals in your brain attempting to be balanced out. So if you are taking gelatinized maca and you experience these crazy symptoms, you should probably start with like 1/4 of a teaspoon, and for the first 2 weeks, take 1/4 of a teaspoon. Then take 1/2 of a teaspoon for another week. Then take a teaspoon or a tablespoon after that. After 3 weeks of the low dosages, you should be able to tolerate enough. I take, on average, well, lately I've only been taking a teaspoon because I take other things that are even more powerful, so I don't really need that much maca. And they're herbal, by the way. They are, in fact, herbs, okay? Like ginseng and whatnot. But for, the past 2-3 years or whatever, before this year or whatever, I was taking a tablespoon to up to 4 tablespoons a day of maca. All right, and let me just tell you, the amount of sexual energy that gave me was insane. All right, and if you're doing no-fap, it might not be a great thing. But I'll tell you, since I started taking maca, gelatinized maca, a teaspoon a day, I have been noticing it's a lot easier to avoid relapsing and whatnot. And I don't really get urges for pornography. But I also noticed that Facebook and other dopamine engaging pursuits kind of mess with that and change that. So anyway, so yes, there are hormonal changes that happen when you take maca, okay? And a lot of people say that that's false, because of testosterone and blah, blah, blah. Listen, yeah, sure, maybe maca doesn't raise your testosterone like steroids does, okay? It seems to have effects on luteinizing hormone, which can possibly raise estrogen or raise testosterone, but we know that it does influence cortisol, and we know that it influences thyroid, okay? And through thyroid and cortisol, this is a catecholamine neurotransmitters is what it's working on. Dopamine, adrenaline, neuroadrenaline or norepinephrine, epinephrine. And so if this is the case, the dopamine systems, and then you have prolactin. Low prolactin usually means higher testosterone. High prolactin means lower. So it through indirectly it can influence testosterone and estrogen, but directly it does affect cortisol and thyroid. So if that's the case, it is hormonal. It is affecting the hormones, and because it is balancing, it can take some time before you start to notice great effects. Just start small in that case. But most of the time, if you're taking raw maca, you will definitely not have a great time, okay? Some people experience really bad negative effects. Other people just don't feel anything from raw maca because it's hard to digest. So, yeah, that's usually most people's problem, all right? Like, I've heard of people saying, oh, man, I took like 5 tablespoons of maca and, dude, I was fucked up from that, man. Like, it's some powerful stuff. You gotta start off small. And these are like raw vegans who are like on a raw food diet and they're eating raw maca. And they wonder why they feel so fucked up from taking larger amounts of maca root. Well, it's because you're taking raw maca, okay? So, you know, if you take gelatinized maca, I found that when I take higher amounts of gelatinized maca, I usually have higher amounts of sexual energy, but a lot of times, depending on what type of maca I'm taking, gelatinized maca has been known to put me to sleep, particularly when I took the Gaia Herbs gelatinized maca that included holy basil, go figure, or the cacao version. I know, it has holy basil in it, so of course it might do this, but holy basil itself didn't put me to sleep. Basically, I would take that with yogurt back when I used to eat yogurt, and I would add some honey to it, and Jesus, man, that put me to sleep. So it definitely didn't raise my cortisol in that case, all right? But that's a different story, because I was taking it with yogurt, and I used to eat yogurt back in that time. I don't eat dairy anymore. I took it with, and it was like, it also had a little bit of holy basil in it. But, I mean, I feel like it balances me out, but I also feel like it adds that assertiveness, that domination, that masculine edge, and it definitely increases sperm volume and whatnot. So, yeah, I mean, I hope this is a general overview of why you might experience symptoms. I'm not telling anybody any, like, concrete, like, absolute, like, yeah, maca, it increases this, so that, and blah, blah, blah. No, it's going to have different effects on different people, okay? It can raise your cortisol, or it can lower your cortisol. It can raise your thyroid, and I believe it can also lower your thyroid. It depends on you. Depends on you, okay? Also, one more thing to add is that cruciferous vegetables have been shown to include indole 3-carbinol, or DIM, precursor to DIM, and this is actually has been shown to be possibly a very strong anti-estrogen type molecule. So just putting that out there. It doesn't mean that, oh, it's, it's steroids, or it's definitely going to block estrogen, or definitely going to increase testosterone. I'm just saying, like, it has very potent effects on hormones. But anybody who has been subscribed to me for quite some time knows what I'm about to drink here. Some delicious yerba mate, gynostemma tea, with some goji berries. Man, that's delicious. So leave your questions and comments down below. And listen, man, I hope everybody, focuses on medicinal nutrition, finds what works for them, and can find, tonic herbs that they really like, and can, not waste too much money on herbs that didn't really work so well. Because I know the struggle. I spent the last, 4 years of my life, almost 5, buying different tonic herbs and supplements and amino acids and vitamins and minerals and experimenting with all this stuff. So I know the struggle. I know how that can be. Luckily I have all the money that I need to do what I want with it. So anyway, leave your questions and comments down below. Let me know your experience. And if you have any specific questions on maca or anything of that nature, please let me know. I'll be happy to go further into detail.